What is up, internet land? How are you doing this fine day? Listen, I want to start this video as positively as I possibly can. I watched the video. Listen. I am a fan of Wranglerstar. I like their whole family. I am. This video is not about trashing them. I guess I just want to bring a little balance to the force. So I get, listen, I get grumpy and I say things when I'm grumpy and my mouth, I run off at the mouth sometimes too. So I don't have a lot of stones to throw. I'm happy to tell somebody when they're wrong and when I think that they've crossed a line. But ultimately, I feel like I get it. I get where Cody was coming from the other day in his video. And so obviously, if you clicked on this video, you know that I've got some things to say about Wranglerstar and the video that he posted. So let me tell you a little bit about me. My name's Kirk, and I'm a law enforcement chaplain. I'm a pastor. I have been for a long time. I have served fire and EMS. I was an EMT for a long time. Served both as a medic for a challenge camp in Colorado and also as a volunteer ambulance guy in a tiny rural town where all of EMS was volunteer. And there was a pretty dynamic war between EMS and fire and police, law enforcement in that particular town as well. So Cody isn't wrong about some of the things he has to say about that. Now let me just tell you about I was about to say my relationship with Wranglerstar. There is none, other than I want to be honest up front. I like Cody. I like the way he makes videos. I like his channel. Gigantic respect for him. I've met him, I believe 3 times, spoken to him on the phone once. And 2 of the times we hung out briefly at Thunder Ranch. I didn't train alongside him or anything. I just happened to be in the peripheral. I was visiting one day because I love Clint and Heidi, and I was one of the catalysts that connected Thunder Ranch and Wranglerstar together, and along with my friend Brandon over in Australia. So we all kind of ganged up on Heidi and said, "You and Cody need to be friends. Like, let's make this happen." And I think it's been a good relationship ever since, as far as those 2 brands or channels have gone. My wife and I and my son were honored enough to be able to attend Cody's 1 million subscriber party at McMinimans in Troutdale, Oregon. We had an absolute blast. They were incredibly hospitable. They were super friendly. We hung out kind of toward the end. We actually got a little bit of hangout time with them. I find them to be sweet, genuine people, and I respect them immensely. That being said, all of that being said, I just think that I think Cody screwed up the other day. And he has a couple of times. This was not his first video, and he even says in his furious rant video, talking about law enforcement, why I don't support the police anymore. He talks about the difference between the sheriff's department being an elected official and the staff member there and the PD. There are difficulties. I'll say this from the get-go. He's not completely wrong. But what he does get wrong, I think he throws the baby out with the bathwater pretty immensely. So, but I appreciated the fact that he did draw a distinction. And I also draw a distinction between federal law enforcement and state and local law enforcement. And I think that a lot of people, a lot of federal law enforcement, I believe they absolutely turn a blind eye to corruption. I believe that they are pretty anti-freedom and anti-America on a lot of places. And I would have some very condemning things to say about federal law enforcement as a whole as well. But when he goes after state and local law enforcement kind of carte blanche apart from sheriffs, and I'm glad here's why I'm glad that he drew a distinction between sheriff's department and everybody else, because I know his sheriff. I'm friends with his sheriff. I've had lunch with his sheriff, and he's one of the greatest sheriffs in America. I don't want to say which sheriff it is because then I would be sort of outing where Cody lives. And even though that information is pretty readily available on the internet now, and I wrote a pretty poo-poo review comment on a video kind of doxing them the other day on YouTube, saying this was a disrespectful video. I don't want to be a part of that. I'm not going to contribute, even though I have immense respect and love for the sheriff where he lives. I'm not going to be that guy. That's not what I'm about, because I actually like Cody and respect him. So this is not me trying to go to war with Wranglerstar by any stretch of the imagination. But I just want to call a couple of things into question, and I want to make this a short video, under 10 minutes. So here are my thoughts. I think Cody probably got disrespected by a badge heavy PD guy in Idaho the other day, and everybody gets a bad taste in their mouth once in a while. Everybody ends up operating. I had a negative interaction even as a law enforcement chaplain. I had a negative interaction with a Washington state trooper a couple years ago. Does that mean I started hating all state troopers? No, because that would be absolutely ludicrous to do. So all that being said is, I think that it's ludicrous for him to start hating on PD guys and hating on state guys. And here's why. All of a sudden in his video, he deifies and lauds over fire departments. And I'm just going to say this: law enforcement, as a general rule, is the single most hated class of citizens that we have in this country right now. It's actually why, and rhetoric like Wranglerstar's video is why we are the people are becoming desensitized to the fact that folks will walk into a Sherry's up in Tacoma, Washington, or Seattle, Washington, and gun down 4 or 5 officers, killing every single one of them before they can even pull their weapon to defend themselves. And it's why the general populace is becoming unfeeling toward the plight of the normal everyday officer. It's why we saw the commissioner of the NYPD last week in tears calling out to citizens of New York City, going, we cannot be the only ones to line the streets of New York City when we carry our brothers down the street to their services and to their resting place. You also have to come and stand shoulder to shoulder with us. You have to show that this is unacceptable behavior. Cody goes off on law enforcement officers looking like they're headed off to Fallujah. And I wearing a tactical plate carrier like this one, with mag carriers. Well, here's the story. Officers have AR-15s. Officers carry these rifles. I will not call them assault rifles, because that is an erroneous term that doesn't exist, and that's propaganda in itself. They carry AR-15 rifles, and some of them, I don't believe Washington does, but some departments carry military grade ones that either have select fire or full auto, and you have to carry and wear the armor. The appropriate level of armor that you deploy. Okay. So I have those type of tools. I have those type of rifles. And so therefore I have that type of armor. And here's what I find very hypocritical about Cody's response is he runs that armor too. Go back and look at his videos talking about how he builds out his kit and vest, and he'll film videos working on his homestead while wearing full plate carrier dress to go into Fallujah stuff. And it's just, it's maddening to me that he took a negative experience with a PD officer and then turned it into this dogmatic, doctrinal statement vilifying local law enforcement that just happened to not be sheriff's officers. I know some of the state troopers that I work with as a law enforcement chaplain are some of the most stand-up, ethical men and women I have ever had the pleasure of being around, and they are not turning a blind eye to the corruption that's happening in Oregon and Washington, those places. The town that I live in, our PD is a mess. We've gone through a chief swap. The last chief left. He was a phenomenal man. He was a retired state trooper that then came out of retirement, and he served and got a lot of things fixed, got rid of some of the not so great cops on that force. A new chief has come in. There's been some rigmarole. There's a transition time. It's a rebuilding phase. They're really struggling right now, okay? But that doesn't make them bad, but it does make them pretty stressed out and pretty pinned. So, Cody comes in and talks about how wonderful and honorable firefighters are and how horrible and nasty local law enforcement is. And I just feel like it's absolutely erroneous, because if you go to look at Wranglerstar videos, he talks about very openly why he was no longer a part of the fire department. He's no longer a firefighter. He's got some very nostalgic memories of being a firefighter that I respect and love and care about, because like I've said, I work with firefighters too. And being EMS, I also worked with fire quite a bit as well. But I'm just going to tell you right now, there's just as many broken firefighters as there are broken police officers. But one category of people get labeled heroes, and one category of people get labeled overarching, sweeping judgment to be the bad guys. I just want to say, again, I want to end the video on the fact that I love Cody. I love his channel. I think his family is delightful to be around. I would love at one point in the world to call him friend, but I'm just going to say that I find it absolutely unacceptable to blanket assault or continue to degrade the trust in the American law enforcement officer. Do I love the militarization of the police? No, but in some levels, I believe that based on the fact that we have a completely unsecured border, we have cartels. There is a war on police, and they should dress and operate according to that war. Now, if we could get some control of this country and make it so that we don't have just the random killings all of the time. He referenced something in his videos talking about, like, are they lining up in outrage when someone is killed unjustly? Actually, yeah, they are. I saw gobs of officers condemning the George Floyd fiasco, standing in solidarity with that deal. But I would say this: 99.99% of shootings in America that involve law enforcement are 100% justified. And if we would just shut our mouths before the video even comes out, most of the time people condemn and reject them before the chest videos are even before the dash videos are even released. It's like, oh, another person shot in the back. Well, did we mention the fact that they were reaching behind themselves with a 1911 randomly popping off 45 rounds, or they had already put a bullet in an officer, or they had already put a bullet in their girlfriend, and so just because they're running away doesn't mean they're not a threat anymore. So yeah, they got leveled. They got to take the room temperature challenge, as John Correa says. So bottom line here, I think the world of Cody, and I love the way he makes videos. I just think he was dead wrong the other day, and I believe that his rhetoric was inflammatory and unhelpful and uninspiring, and it did not make the world a better place, where 99% of his videos absolutely do. I have learned from Cody. I appreciate him. I appreciate the Wranglerstar brand. I have bought things from his Amazon affiliate stuff. I was a member of his channel for a long time, and I think the only reason I'm not a member anymore is I actually switched YouTube accounts for this Kirk Yourself channel. So anyway, all that being said, 14-minute video, a little longer than I hoped for it to be. I love you, but that love pales in comparison to how much God loves you. Rest in that love. I really hope you get to know Jesus so you can know that love. And my prayers go out to Cody and his family. I pray that God blesses them, keeps them, makes his face shine upon them, and gives them peace. I pray all good things for them, and I hope that their channel continues to grow. I hope their homestead and family continues to grow. I have a ton of respect for them, but I got to tell you, I would not be sad if Cody went and deleted that video. Not because I believe he needs to be canceled, and please don't say that, because he doesn't need to be canceled. Very smart, wise, intelligent people are wrong sometimes, and I just think he was wrong the other day. All right, God bless you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.